Welcome back to Byte-Sized Tech, where we like to take a fun look at what's happening in the tech world.
Yeah, get into some of those gadgets and news stories and
Absolutely. And, we found some pretty interesting stuff in your feed this week.
oh yeah, this is a good week, I
Yeah.
think. A lot of stuff happening. Feels like a turning point in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it does. And I thought maybe we could kick things off by talking about this whole battle of these AI office suites.
Yeah, the AI wars are heating up for sure. Microsoft and Google, they're both kind of going all in.
Yeah. And they're not exactly playing nice either.
Right. Well, so Microsoft's like, okay, we're going to offer our Copilot AI as an option. It'll be like an add-on.
Yeah, $3 a month, right?
Yeah, $3 a month for Microsoft 365 users, so you can choose if you want it or not.
Okay, makes sense. Give people the option, but Google's doing something a little different.
Yeah, well, they're making it mandatory. So, for all their Google Workspace business users, I mean, this is like the biggest forced AI adoption ever.
That's a good point. I mean, how do you even begin to think about the implications of something like that?
Well, you have to think about the users, right? Like you're suddenly obligated to use this AI tool whether you're ready or not.
Right, and then you have to think about the privacy concerns. You mentioned some concerns in your notes about data collection.
Oh, yeah. I mean, these AI assistants, they can definitely, streamline tasks, but they're also collecting tons of data.
Yeah, it's a trade-off, isn't it? Convenience for privacy. It's an interesting dilemma.
Yeah, and what about accessibility? Will people who aren't comfortable with technology get left behind?
It's almost like we're stepping into a sci-fi movie, except it's happening in our inboxes.
Right.
Yeah.
Like the robots are coming for our jobs, but they're starting with our email.
Exactly. Okay, well, let's take a break from the robot overlords for a minute and talk about something a little more fun.
Sure.
Nintendo. They just officially announced the Switch 2.
I know everyone's super hyped about it, and it looks pretty cool. The trailer and website, they're showing off the bigger screen.
Yeah, and those redesigned Joy-Cons.
Yeah, and apparently some pretty big improvements under the hood as well, like performance-wise.
You sent me that article about the future of handheld gaming, and it kind of made me wonder, is this enough?
You mean for Nintendo to stay ahead of the curve?
Yeah. Are they innovating or just playing catch-up at this point?
Well, that's a good question.
Yeah.
I mean, Nintendo, they've always done their own thing, right?
Yeah, fun and accessible.
Yeah, exactly. But the competition is getting pretty intense.
Well, speaking of intense competition,
Yeah.
the AI world is buzzing with this theory about OpenAI.
Oh, yeah, the whole GPT-5 conspiracy.
Yeah, so some people believe they've already developed GPT-5.
Which would be the next generation of their language model after GPT-4.
Right, and the theory is that they're keeping it a secret.
Yeah, I mean, you've got these cryptic social media posts from OpenAI people, and then you've got...
Their smaller models, like O3, seem to be getting really good really fast.
Right. It's almost like they're being trained on something way more powerful behind the scenes.
Yeah, it's like a secret weapon.
Yeah.
So the question is, why all the secrecy?
Right. Is OpenAI just trying to, maintain a competitive edge?
Or are they worried about the risks of releasing something so powerful? That paper you shared about the dangers of unchecked AI.
Yeah, that's definitely a possibility. I mean, they've been pretty vocal about responsible AI development.
Yeah, they have. But it's hard to ignore the competitive aspect too, right?
Oh, yeah. Imagine the advantage they would have if they were secretly using GPT-5 to train their other models.
Okay, well, that is definitely a cliffhanger I think we should leave our listeners on.
Yeah. I mean, before the break, we were talking about all this, secret AI stuff.
All the conspiracy theory.
Yeah, and now we have the story about Apple kind of going in the opposite direction.
Yeah, hitting the brakes a little bit.
Yeah, they paused those AI-generated news summaries in iOS 18.3.
What's funny is you sent me an article about this, and
Oh.
it was summarized using AI, and it was so inaccurate.
Yeah, how about that?
It was kind of hilarious, but also a little scary. Like how much of the news we read is already being messed with by AI.
Yeah, that's a valid concern for sure. And this whole thing with Apple highlights why accuracy is so important.
Especially with the news.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
there was that incident where their AI completely misrepresented that BBC story about the United Health CEO.
Yeah, the one where he...
Yeah, the murder.
Yeah, the BBC called him out on it.
Yeah, it's like Apple realized, whoops, maybe we need to slow down a bit.
Yeah, make sure our AI is actually, telling the truth.
Right. And I think this whole thing points to this bigger issue of responsible AI development.
Yeah, it's not just about making cool tech, it's about making sure it's used ethically.
Exactly.
Well, speaking of pushing the limits, let's talk about SpaceX.
Oh, boy.
Their Starship rocket exploded just minutes after launch.
Yeah, that was a tough one to watch.
Debris scattered all over the Turks and Caicos Islands.
Talk about a setback.
Yeah, but you mentioned in your notes that you kind of admire their whole fail fast, learn fast approach.
Yeah, I mean, isn't that part of the process in a way?
Yeah, I guess each failure gives them data to improve.
Exactly. I mean, they're not afraid to take risks.
But at what point does failing fast become reckless?
Well, I mean, you have to consider the safety and environmental impact for sure.
Yeah, debris landing on islands is not exactly ideal.
No, it's a tough balance between pushing the limits and being responsible.
Okay. Well, we have a few more headlines from your feed before we wrap up.
All right, hit me.
Okay, rapid fire round ready.
Ready?
Okay, first up, General Motors got caught selling driver data.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, things like location and driving habits to insurance companies and other third parties.
That's creepy.
I know the FTC had to step in to stop them.
It's like a never-ending battle for data privacy these days.
Right, next up, let's go to Japan.
Okay.
Toyota's Woven City is about to get its first residents.
Oh, wow. That's that futuristic city they're building.
Yeah, like a real-life sci-fi movie.
Robots, self-driving cars, the whole 9 yards.
It's a pretty crazy experiment in urban living.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see what they learn from it.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, last but not least, remember NordVPN.
Yeah, the privacy company.
Yeah, well, their founders are starting a new AI company called Nexus.ai.
So they're going from privacy to AI. That's an interesting pivot.
Yeah, they just got like $8 million in funding.
Wow, so someone believes in their vision.
Yeah, it seems like everyone's jumping on the AI bandwagon these days.
It's the next big thing, right?
Yeah, it really does feel like we're on the verge of a tech revolution.
And your newsfeed is giving us a front row seat.
Yeah, but let's step back from the headlines for a second and think about the bigger picture.
Okay.
We've seen how AI is becoming more and more integrated into our lives.
In every aspect.
Work, news, even our cities.
It's everywhere.
So the question is, how comfortable are we with all of this?
Yeah, that's the big question, right? What does it mean for the future?
I mean, think about it. We've got mandatory AI at work, AI, running our new self-driving cars.
It's a lot to take in.
It is, and it's happening so fast.
That's why we need to talk about it, you know?
Yeah, these conversations are important.
We need to understand both the good and the bad.
You mentioned in your notes that you were a little skeptical about this AI revolution.
Yeah, I mean, I still have my concerns.
Do you feel like the tech industry is listening to those concerns?
Well, some are, for sure.
Yeah, like Apple.
Right, they're at least trying to be more responsible.
But some others are just full steam ahead.
Yeah, it's like they're not even thinking about the consequences.
It's like we're at a crossroads, right?
Yeah, one path leads to a future where AI makes our lives better.
And the other path, who knows?
It's a bit scary, honestly.
Yeah, and it's up to us to decide which path we take.
That's a good point.
Yeah, it really does feel like one of those choose-your-own-adventure books,
Yeah, totally. And we're all writing it together, which is
Kind of terrifying.
a little bit. Yeah.
But hey, that's the world we live in, right?
I guess so.
It's been a fascinating deep dive into your newsfeed this week.
Yeah, lots to think about.
Yeah, you always curate such interesting stuff.
I try my best.
Well, you've definitely succeeded this week.
Well, it's been fun talking about it with you.
Yeah, and to all our listeners out there, thanks for tuning in to Byte-Sized Tech.
See you next time.
If you enjoyed the episode, like, comment, share, and subscribe for more fun tech discussions.